Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, without a second thought at the grocery store. But what if that same coin could secretly be worth a fortune? Today we're diving deep into the world of the United States Kennedy half-dollar from the year 2000 with its mint mark, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. While most people think of modern coins as ordinary pocket change, the truth is that certain examples of the Kennedy half-dollar from 2000 can be worth far more than their face value, and in some cases, their price tag will leave you speechless. The Kennedy half-dollar was first introduced in 1964, shortly after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Americans were deeply moved by the sudden loss of their beloved president, and in his honor, the half-dollar was quickly redesigned to feature his portrait. It became more than just a coin, it became a national symbol of remembrance, pride, and unity. Over the decades, the Kennedy half-dollar has gone through many changes, including adjustments in its composition, minting techniques, and design refinements. By the year 2000, it had already been circulating for 36 years, but it continued to hold a special place in the hearts of the American people. The year 2000 Kennedy half-dollar stands out because it was part of a time when half-dollars were not widely used in everyday circulation. Most Americans no longer carried half-dollars in their pockets, so many of the coins from this era were made in smaller numbers compared to the peak production years. They were struck both for circulation and for collectors, with different finishes depending on the mint. Philadelphia produced coins without a mint mark, Denver coins carried a D mint mark, and San Francisco struck proof coins with an S. Each of these variations appeals to different types of collectors, but some of the rarest and most desirable examples are those in pristine condition, with high grades and special features. One of the key things that makes Kennedy half-dollars from 2000 so intriguing is the combination of limited circulation, proof strikes, and rare errors. Proof coins from San Francisco were made specifically for collectors, featuring mirror-like backgrounds and frosted designs that showcase incredible detail. When preserved properly, these coins still shine brilliantly, even decades later. Meanwhile, the regular circulation coins from Philadelphia and Denver can also become incredibly valuable when they are found in near-perfect, mint-state condition, with sharp details and no signs of wear. But the real excitement for collectors often comes from error coins. A minting mistake, while unintentional, creates something truly unique. Errors like double strikes, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet can make a coin one of a kind. A 2000 Kennedy half-dollar with a striking error becomes more than just a piece of currency, it transforms into a rare collectible that collectors will pay extraordinary amounts of money to own. These coins are like hidden treasures, waiting to be discovered in old rolls of coins, inherited collections, or even pocket change. Condition also plays a huge role in determining value. Collectors grade coins on a scale that measures everything from scratches and luster to sharpness of detail. A coin that has been well preserved since the year 2000, showing no signs of wear, can be worth many times more than one that has been passed around in circulation. Coins that maintain their full luster, with vibrant details of President Kennedy's profile on the obverse and the majestic presidential seal on the reverse, are particularly sought after. Think about it this way: two coins may look almost identical to the untrained eye, but to a collector, the smallest differences in condition or detail can mean the difference between a coin worth 50 cents and one worth thousands, or more. That's the thrill of numismatics. Every coin holds a story, and every coin has the potential to be a hidden gem. The Kennedy half-dollar from 2000 represents not just a piece of money, but a bridge between everyday commerce and the rich tradition of American history. Collectors treasure these coins for what they represent, but also for the possibility that a rare variety or flawless specimen could hold immense financial value. This is why people around the world carefully examine their coins, hoping to uncover a rarity that others might have overlooked. And here's where it gets truly exciting. While most 2000 Kennedy half-dollars are worth only their face value or a few dollars to collectors, there are special examples that stand out. Rare error coins, coins struck in proof condition, or those kept in pristine, untouched mint state can bring shockingly high prices at auctions. Imagine the surprise of discovering that a coin sitting in your collection or tucked away in a forgotten roll is actually worth more than a brand new car, more than a down payment on a house, or even more than some people earn in years. Today we're going to explore one of the most fascinating and surprising coins in modern American history, the United States of America Kennedy half-dollar from 1973 with its mint mark. At first glance, it looks like any other half-dollar, but as you'll soon discover, some examples of this coin are worth far more than anyone could imagine. The Kennedy half-dollar first appeared in 1964, a year after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was more than just a coin. It was a tribute to a leader whose legacy was still fresh in the hearts of Americans. The decision to honor him on the half-dollar was made quickly, and the coin became an instant symbol of national pride and remembrance. Over the years, this coin has seen changes in metal composition, minting quality, and collector interest, but one thing has never changed: its powerful place in American culture. By 1973, the Kennedy half-dollar had already been in circulation for nearly a decade, and the U.S. Mint was producing them in large numbers. But here's the interesting twist: half-dollars by the early 1970s weren't being used in everyday transactions as much as they had been in the 1960s. Many people still associated the coin with collecting rather than spending. This meant that while millions were minted, far fewer were actually circulating in pockets and purses. Instead, they were tucked away in collections, coin rolls, and mint sets, waiting for the right collector to notice their potential. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar came in several varieties depending on where it was struck. Philadelphia coins were made without a mint mark, Denver coins carried a bold D, and San Francisco produced proof coins marked with an S. Each version has its own unique characteristics, but some are far more valuable than others. The proof coins from San Francisco, for example, were made with extra care, giving them a mirror-like finish and crisp details that collectors adore. A flawless proof coin kept in perfect condition can fetch incredible sums of money today. The design of the 1973 half-dollar continues the classic Kennedy portrait on the obverse, designed by Gilroy Roberts, showing the late president in a dignified profile. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, features the presidential seal, an eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by stars. This design symbolizes strength, peace, and the enduring presence of the presidency. Holding one of these coins is like holding a piece of America's story, where history and symbolism come together in one piece of copper nickel. Now let's talk about why some 1973 Kennedy half-dollars have become so highly sought after. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. A coin that has been passed around in circulation will show signs of wear, scratches, dull luster, faded details. But a coin that has been preserved in pristine, mint-state condition tells a very different story. Collectors crave those coins with bright luster, sharp details in Kennedy's hair, and every feature of the presidential seal clear and untouched. Coins graded MS-65, MS-66, or higher by professional grading services are especially desirable, but the real treasures often come from minting errors. Imagine a coin struck off-center, with doubled lettering, or even a proof coin that somehow slipped into circulation. These rare mistakes turn an ordinary half-dollar into a collector's dream. A 1973 Kennedy half-dollar with a dramatic error or a unique strike can be worth thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, more than its face value. Every time a collector comes across a new error variety, the excitement grows, because these are one-of-a-kind pieces that no other collector can duplicate. There's also the story of scarcity. While millions of Kennedy half-dollars were made in 1973, not all of them have survived in collectible condition. Time takes its toll, and finding one that has been kept safe for 50 years without losing its brilliance is becoming harder and harder. Add in the fact that some proof coins were only made in limited quantities, and you begin to see why certain 1973 half-dollars stand out so dramatically on the market. Imagine stumbling upon one of these coins in an old collection or inherited box of coins from a relative. At first, you might think it's just another half-dollar, but with closer inspection, the details start to reveal themselves: the mint mark, the condition, maybe even an unusual error. Suddenly, this 50-cent coin could represent the kind of discovery collectors dream about, a hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. For many people, the Kennedy half-dollar is not just about money, it's about history, nostalgia, and the thrill of discovery. It connects us to a pivotal moment in the past, while still surprising us in the present with its hidden value. Collectors worldwide continue to search, buy, and sell these coins, chasing after those rare examples that can command jaw-dropping prices at auction, and here's the part that might surprise you most. While most 1973 Kennedy half-dollars are only worth their face value or a few dollars to collectors, there are extraordinary examples that stand out from the rest. Some have sold for sums that would leave anyone stunned. In fact, one particular Kennedy half-dollar from 1973 with its mint mark, preserved in exceptional condition and coveted by collectors, has been valued at an incredible $300,000. Today, we're going to uncover why this specific year of the Kennedy half-dollar is so fascinating, why collectors search tirelessly for them, and just how much money one of these coins can actually be worth. The Kennedy half-dollar series itself began in 1964, introduced only a few months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Americans were still mourning, and the decision to honor him on the half-dollar was met with immediate support. The coin became more than currency, it became a tribute. Since then, the Kennedy half-dollar has gone through many changes, from its composition of 90% silver in 1964, to the 40% silver coins of the late 1960s, to the copper-nickel-clad coins of the 1970s and beyond. By 1983, the Kennedy half-dollar was firmly established as a symbol of American pride, but it was no longer widely seen in circulation. In fact, that's one of the interesting things about the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar. By the early 1980s, half-dollars had already fallen out of everyday use. People simply weren't carrying them around, and fewer of them were being struck for circulation compared to earlier years. This makes the coins from this period more attractive to collectors, since finding them in pristine condition is far less common. Philadelphia coins were produced without a mint mark, Denver coins carried the D, and San Francisco struck proof coins with an S. Each of these holds its own value, but as always, condition, rarity, and errors can make all the difference. The design remained the same familiar look that Americans had come to love. On the obverse is the profile of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His strong and dignified image serves as both a remembrance and a national symbol. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, is the presidential seal, with the bold eagle clutching arrows in one claw and an olive branch in the other, surrounded by stars. It's a design full of symbolism, strength, leadership, and the balance of war and peace. Even though the 1983 half-dollar wasn't silver, it still carried the weight of that history and symbolism in its design. Now, let's dive into what makes the 1983 Kennedy half-dollar stand out in the world of coin collecting. First, condition is everything. Circulated coins, the ones that passed through many hands, often show scratches, fading, and loss of shine. But a 1983 half-dollar in mint state, with its full luster intact, is something entirely different. Collectors look for sharp details, clean fields, and that brilliant glow that comes from a coin untouched by circulation. Those coins, especially when graded MS-65 or higher, begin to attract serious attention. Proof coins from San Francisco are also highly desirable, especially when they feature deep cameo contrast, the mirrored fields and frosted designs that make the coin look like a tiny work of art. If kept safe and untouched, these proof coins can command high premiums. But the real treasures are often the error coins. A double die obverse, repunched mint mark, or even an off-center strike can turn a normal 1983 Kennedy half-dollar into a collector's dream. Error coins are beloved because they are truly unique, often one of a kind, and they showcase the imperfections of the minting process that make collecting so exciting. What's even more interesting about the 1983 half-dollar is that relatively fewer collectors at the time saved them in pristine condition. Unlike coins from the 1960s, which people held onto because of their silver content, many 1980s coins were simply spent and forgotten. This means finding high-grade examples today is a real challenge. As the decades have passed, the number of well-preserved 1983 half-dollars has dwindled, which drives up their value in the collector market. Think about the thrill of discovery. You come across a 1983 Kennedy half-dollar in a coin collection or an old roll from the bank. You check its mint mark, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. Then you notice something unusual. Maybe the coin shines with unbelievable brilliance, or maybe you catch the faint doubling on the lettering that signals a rare minting error. Suddenly, this 50-cent coin transforms from pocket change into a prize worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. That's the beauty of coin collecting, ordinary coins hiding extraordinary stories. The Kennedy half-dollar from 1983 is more than just a piece of money. It's a part of history, a piece of art, and a treasure waiting to be found. For collectors, it symbolizes the chase, the thrill of finding something rare in a sea of common coins. And for those lucky enough to own one of the rarest examples, it represents not just history, but life-changing value. So here's the part that might leave you speechless. While most 1983 Kennedy half-dollars are only worth their face value or a few dollars in circulated condition, the rarest examples, especially those with minting errors or kept in flawless condition, have shocked collectors with their value. In fact, one extraordinary 1983 Kennedy half-dollar with its mint mark has been valued at an astonishing $370,000. Today? This isn't just a coin, it's a piece of American history, a tribute to the nation's 200th birthday, and for collectors, one of the most exciting issues in the Kennedy half-dollar series. The bicentennial celebration of the United States in 1976 was a monumental event. To honor 200 years of independence, the U.S. Mint released special designs for three coins: the quarter, the half-dollar, and the dollar. These coins didn't just carry a single date. Instead, they proudly displayed the dual date 1776 to 1976, marking America's founding and its 2 centuries of progress. For the Kennedy half-dollar, the obverse still bore the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. But the reverse design was brand new, created by Seth G. Huntington, and it depicted Independence Hall in Philadelphia, the very place where the Declaration of Independence was adopted. Beneath the hall are the words, 200 Years of Freedom, making the coin not just money, but a patriotic keepsake. Now here's the fascinating part. The bicentennial half-dollars were struck in enormous numbers, and they were released in circulation for 2 full years, 1975 and 1976, even though they only carry the dual date 1776 to 1976. But not all bicentennial half-dollars are created equal. Most were made of copper-nickel clad, the standard metal for circulating coins. However, special collector editions were also struck in 40% silver, available in both uncirculated and proof sets. These silver coins, with their heavier feel and brilliant shine, became instant favorites among collectors. And when it comes to value, the difference between a circulated clad coin and a pristine silver proof can be astonishing. The mint marks are another key detail that collectors look for. Coins were struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark, in Denver with a D, and in San Francisco with an S. The San Francisco issues are especially important because they include both silver uncirculated coins and silver proof coins, which were made with exceptional care and carry deep cameo contrast that makes them shine like tiny works of art. Over the decades, these have become some of the most sought-after bicentennial half-dollars in the hobby. But here's where things really get exciting: errors and condition. A typical worn bicentennial half-dollar might not fetch more than its face value, but when you find one in flawless mint state condition, graded MS65 or higher, its value can rise dramatically. Proof coins with perfect deep cameo contrast can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And if you're lucky enough to come across a rare error coin, the value can climb even higher. Off-center strikes, double dies, and even coins struck on the wrong planchets have been discovered among bicentennial halves, and these unusual mistakes can transform an ordinary 50-cent coin into an extraordinary prize. Think about it: millions of people saved bicentennial coins as souvenirs, but very few took the steps to preserve them in pristine condition. Over time, coins that were tossed in drawers, jars, and boxes picked up scratches, dullness, and wear. That makes untouched examples, whether they're brilliant uncirculated clad coins or shining silver proofs, incredibly desirable to serious collectors today. And the rarer the coin, the higher the value it can command at auction. Collectors love the bicentennial Kennedy half-dollar not only for its patriotic design but also because it bridges 2 important parts of American history: the founding of the nation in 1776 and the modern era in which Kennedy's legacy lives on. It's a coin that carries weight far beyond its 50-cent denomination, telling a story of freedom, resilience, and national pride. And for those who discover one of the rarest varieties, it also tells a story of unexpected treasure. Now let's imagine the thrill of actually finding one of these rare coins. You pull out a bicentennial $50, check the mint mark, examine the condition, and notice it looks almost perfect, no scratches, brilliant luster, and possibly even a cameo contrast if it's a proof. Then you take a closer look and spot an unusual feature, maybe a minting error or a unique strike. Suddenly, this coin is no longer just a keepsake from the 1970s. It becomes a highly prized collectible that could fetch an unbelievable price in the right auction, and that's what makes the 1776 to 1976 Kennedy $50 so captivating. It's a coin that nearly everyone has seen or even owned at some point, yet among those millions of coins, a handful stand out as extraordinary. Those are the coins that change lives for the lucky collectors who hold them. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1998 Kennedy $50, exploring its history, design, rarity, and why some of these coins are considered true treasures among collectors. The Kennedy $50 was first introduced in 1964, following the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. It was more than a coin, it became a tribute to a leader whose impact on the nation was profound and lasting. Over the decades, the $50 has seen changes in composition, minting techniques, and collector demand, but it has always remained a symbol of American history and pride. By 1998, the coin had been in circulation for over 3 decades, but it was no longer commonly used in everyday transactions. Most Americans were accustomed to dimes, quarters, and dollar coins, which made the $50 less frequently seen in wallets and cash registers. This decrease in circulation actually increased its desirability among collectors. The 1998 Kennedy $50 was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, which had no mint mark, Denver, marked with a D, and San Francisco, marked with an S for proof coins. Each mint has its own significance. Philadelphia coins were produced in larger numbers, Denver coins were also widely circulated, and San Francisco proof coins were struck specifically for collectors, featuring exceptional detail and a mirror-like finish that highlights every design element. These proof coins, in particular, are highly sought after today, especially when preserved in flawless condition. Design-wise, the obverse of the 1998 Kennedy $50 features the classic profile of President Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His dignified and determined expression remains one of the most recognizable images in American coinage. On the reverse, the presidential seal, designed by Frank Gasparo, showcases an eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by stars, a timeless symbol of strength, peace, and the enduring presidency. While the design remained consistent with earlier issues, what sets the 1998 coin apart is its relative scarcity in high-grade condition and the potential for rare errors that occurred during production. Errors and unique varieties are a major reason collectors pay attention to certain coins. Even in the late 1990s, coins occasionally left the mint with slight mistakes, doubled dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. While these errors were unintentional, they instantly make the coins more valuable. A coin with a unique error can become one of a kind, drawing attention from collectors who are willing to pay a premium for rarity and uniqueness. Condition is absolutely crucial when it comes to evaluating value. A circulated 1998 Kennedy $50 might be worth just its face value or slightly more, depending on demand. However, a coin in uncirculated, mint-state condition, with crisp details and a vibrant luster, can attract significant attention. Coins graded MS-65 or higher, or proof coins with deep cameo contrast, are particularly prized. Even small imperfections can dramatically affect a coin's value, which is why collectors meticulously examine coins for any sign of wear, scratches, or discoloration. The story of the 1998 Kennedy $50 is also about scarcity. While millions were minted for circulation, very few were preserved in pristine condition over the years. Many coins were spent, lost, or simply stored without care, which means that today, coins that look untouched and flawless are exceptionally rare. Add in the possibility of an error or proof coin, and you have a recipe for a truly valuable collectible. Think about the thrill of discovery. You might be sorting through a box of old coins, inherited from a family member, or even checking your own collection. You spot a 1998 Kennedy half-dollar, examine the mint mark, and notice its brilliant luster and perfect details. Perhaps it even shows signs of a rare minting error. Suddenly, this ordinary-looking half-dollar transforms into something extraordinary, a coin that could command thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in the collector market. Collectors around the world continue to search for these rare examples, attending auctions, visiting coin shows, and carefully inspecting rolls of coins in hopes of finding a treasure that has been overlooked. The 1998 Kennedy half-dollar represents the perfect blend of history, artistry, and the thrill of the hunt. It's not just a coin, it's a potential doorway to a life-changing discovery for those lucky enough to find one of the rarest examples, and here's the part that might take your breath away. While most 1998 Kennedy half-dollars are worth only their face value or a few dollars to collectors, the rarest and most pristine examples, especially those with minting errors or perfect proof condition, have commanded truly astonishing sums. In fact, one of these remarkable 1998 Kennedy half-dollars with its mint mark has been valued at an incredible $400,000.